Hello, good evening, and welcome to tonight's edition of e-governance platform. My name is Edem Tetevia, and I'll be your host for tonight. Tonight's edition is giving us a very promising feature, and we're going to have a lot of discussions with the private sector in question. I'll be going for a quick break, and when I'm back, I'll introduce my guest appropriately, and the discussion will still continue. When I'm back, we'll talk. Stay tuned.
I'm a cashier with Kenya Airways.
Okay, so what do you understand by e-governance?
E-governance, I think it's the way by which government performs duties with the use of ICT.
My basic understanding about e-governance is about application of internet in aiding or governance within our country and how to make life more easy for the populace in the country.
E-governance, we're talking about using internet or using ICT to enhance governance in various sectors, being it health, education, sports, and whichever sector you might think of.
E-governance. Electronic governance.
Okay, how is doing business online?
Do you use the internet on your phone?
Yes, I use the internet on my phone.
Okay, so how do you think we have certain basic utilities like bills that we incorporate ICT. How do you think what do you think are the benefits? Or do you think it's necessary? Or?
Yeah, I think it's necessary because it cuts down on time, the time you have to go and spend at the pay points. If you are able to pay your bills using, let's say, mobile money, yeah, I think it helps a lot. So you don't have to go and stand in a queue for a very long time before you're able to pay your bills.
So which sector exactly do you think government structure would need ICT?
What, in terms of, information delivery, so maybe the information sector. Most of the times you realize that government says it has policies, government says it's done A, it's done B, it's done C. The people on the ground don't seem to know anything about it. So I believe that if information technology could be used to what is happening in the various sectors of the economy. So the information ministry will be a key ministry. Also, I think in terms of health, if you go elsewhere, you realize that most of the stuff got to do with the hospitals and clinics are, let me say, a lot of technology in there. So it enhances service delivery. Here, everything is manual. Everything has to be clogged. It makes the process too slow.
Hello and welcome back from the break. Still with me is my guest, and I'm going to introduce him to you shortly. Tonight's show is brought to you from our studios here in First Digital, and it's live on Channel D. My guest for tonight is Mr. Amardeep S. Hari, and he is the CEO of IPMC. You may be wondering what IPMC is all about. IPMC is Africa's #1 leading IT company, and it's a leading integrator of systems, and it supplies all types of IT equipment on the Ghanaian market. It doesn't only supply IT, but it also gives you hardware and software training, and it also develops softwares and train people both on hardware and software, like I earlier said. Mr. Amar, you're welcome to e-governance platform. We are very privileged to have you on our show tonight. Our viewers out there will be itching or crunching to hear a lot more about IPMC and then the wave they are impacting on e-governance platform. My first question will be, how would you define e-governance to the ordinary Ghanaian?
Adam, e-governance, as from the word itself, is governance through electronic means. But it is important for us to understand what is governance in the democratic world. If we go back to 500 years ago, when one of the most earlier democracies were coming up, it was in Greece at the city of Athens. And city of Athens made one of the best progresses during those times because they involved the common citizen in the governance, in the civic governance. They used to have weekly get-togethers where most citizens will come together. They will express their views on the government policies. They will render their complaints. And there were some meetings which were happening on daily basis where citizens would be given chance to talk about. And the government will use their feedback to run the country. A democracy is of the people. It is made by the people, the governments, and it is meant for the people. But the word people gets lost today in most developing countries in the bureaucratic processes which we have in the government. The people need services from most government departments. These services, they need to pass through processes. But these processes are so lengthy that by the time the service is received by the citizen, the meaning of that service is entirely lost. So the citizen, they need their services at the right place and at the right time. Some governments around the world, the developing countries, and to take example of India, the parliament there has passed the law that every citizen has the right to receive the service on time. Timely service is the right of every citizen. And to deliver the timely service, it is the e-governance which is being brought into the system.
Okay, verging from that angle, the historical factor of e-governance, what are some of the systems that need to be in place for the process to really take off?
Any e-governance system is dependent upon strong data center IT hardware, IT equipment, and very sophisticated management of the data center. We need to have these data centers which are up and running 24/7, because if you are going to deliver services electronically, then the citizen may demand that service. They may like to file their application even at the middle of the night. So the service should be up and running at those times. The data centers which we require should be 24/7, and it's not easy to put such data centers together, especially where the landscape in the developing countries in form of electricity and other infrastructure is not so strong. So it's good to see that in Ghana this has started happening.
So if I should ask, what are the current level of implementation of the e-governance process in Ghana?
The first thing government of Ghana has come up with is to set up a very robust data center, and which is the National Data Center. And there is a company, Alcatel-Lucent, who is assisting the government in this regard. Currently, this data center is being set up into place. The first, the DR site has been put in place already in Kumasi, and here the data center, the building has been made ready, and the actual data center may be coming up in the next 5 or 6 months.
So in which ways can, with these data centers in question, In which ways can the implementations really affect if they are set to roll?
There is one thing to have a very nice set of servers and storage and a power system and all the IT equipment into place in the data center. But all this IT hardware is of no use if there is no software, no IT applications, no proper applications into place. So Government of Ghana has put into place a very systematic way, and they are developing these applications one by one. The first application which is required as soon as any worker in an organization he comes into his organization, he enters and he starts his PC, he must be authenticated as the legalized user of or a recognized employee of that organization. This user authentication is which has been being put into place currently in the various agencies, and we are using tools like Microsoft Active Directory to achieve that. As soon as this authentication of the employees of the government agencies into place, the next thing everybody needs today is a proper identification. And you are very well aware that today that identification of every human being on earth is his email address. It's a different thing to have an email address on Yahoo or Gmail, but if you are working in a particular organization, then you must have an email address linked to that organization. You may be working at Ministry of Communication at MOC, and you need to identify yourself, the username at Ministry of Communication Ghana. So wherever the email goes, they see that it's an official working at this particular ministry or agency.
Yeah.
So for this, we are putting into place technologies, tools like Zimbra, which is on open source, or Microsoft Exchange, which is going to provide proper email addresses to all the government workers and a management of their entire emails.
Now, veering from that, what about capacity building for all this to take off? Looking at government systems and the way they address these issues.
Capacity building is a huge challenge everywhere in all the developing countries around the world. We are currently we are in a transition phase. We have that old generation which was not IT savvy, and we have the new generation, and then we have the middle generation which is semi-IT savvy. To change the mindsets of this old generation for adopting IT is not an easy work for anyone. For them to come and sit on the computer is another thing, they would like to do that, but to make them fit inside those automated processes. Earlier all these processes were manual and they were taking their own time to complete those processes. A file will come to them and they may spend 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour. But today when the same file comes to them in an automatic process on the computer, it comes with a certain time limit. So the government worker gets stuck into that process and he may not be so ready to adapt to these new automated systems. But this is the mindset which we need to work upon and change, that computers are going to make you more efficient, more productive. You'll be able to finish your assignment, your task in time, and now you will have more time available which you can use for better purposes. And this could be, you can have more family time, you can have more times with your friends, you can have more time to practice your hobby or play some sports, rather than all that time you were spending in trying to complete those manual processes. Once this mindset comes into the government employees, that this system will make us more efficient and we will gain more time in our life, I think they are going to adopt to these very easily.
Yeah, we'll be coming back to the shift from the normal analog way of operating systems to digital ways like we performing now, like from writing on books and then now using the computers, the iPads, and all have you. I would like to ask one big question, and which is, what has been the way forward for the private sector with implementation of e-governance? What has been their inputs? Yeah.
From the private sector, we specialize in companies like IPMC. We specialize in software development. We identify problems in the organization, and then we see that how we can solve those problems by developing a certain software. Like when we went into government institutions, we saw that one of the biggest work which happens there is meetings. Every day there are lots of meetings happening from one place to the other, from one time to the other. Everybody is involved in more and more meetings, and that is where most of the decision making happens. So there was a need to automate that meeting process. So we came out with an application which is currently being deployed. It is called e-meeting, and by the help of the e-meeting you will be able to identify and invite your all the members of the meeting online, whether they are within your organization or they are within your sister organization, or even they are completely outside the government agencies and they belong to other businesses. You can invite them to a meeting. You can book your meeting room or conference room online, and once the meeting is taking place, you can write down the minutes of meeting electronically. And the good thing about the e-meeting system is that all the procedures which happen in the meeting, all the decisions which are taken, and the entire proceedings of the meeting are always recorded, and they stay there. You can refer to them historically after 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and this is the beauty about applications such as e-meeting, which has been developed and currently being deployed across the 26 ministries and 102 agencies.
They have been developed and they are being strained out throughout all our ministries in the country. We have our numbers displayed on the left bottom corner of your screen, and we'll be going for a quick break. When we are back, the discussion still continues. Stay tuned.
Yo, I see one world, I see one voice, I see one love, I see one choice. When it's all said, when it's all done, what remains true, we are all one.
Run like you're born to fly. Live like you'll never die. Dare what you dare to dream, and everything in between. We are drawn by the rhythm that beats through our hearts. When we all come together, with 7 billion stars, the world is 7 billion stars. 7 billion
Brazil 2014 FIFA World Cup is brought to you by First National, the People's Bank.
oceans and land divide.
Different words describe different people. But in the eyes of the law, there's one that fits us all. Human right number 7. We're all equal before the law. What are human rights? Find out at youthforhumanrights.org.
Sky TV is now First Digital TV. If you already have a Sky TV decoder and still want to enjoy new and exciting First Digital programs, please call our customer service team on 0243 002222. First Digital TV, for the Ghanaian in you.
Hello and welcome back from the break. The discussion still continues. With me here is Mr. Amar, and he's the CEO of IPMC, the leading networking, software and hardware. They implement everything. And tonight he's right here with us. We are honored to have him. The discussion still continues, and we have our phone numbers displayed on the left bottom corner of your screen. You can join this discussion through text message and WhatsApp. I have some of the messages and I would just like to read them out. It says it's good to have IPMC on the show tonight. Please ask him a lot of questions about IPMC. That's from Amma in Kaswa. Sure, Amma will be asking a lot of questions on IPMC. Last week it was NITE's boss, and this week IPMC boss. Kudos to Channel D and First Digital TV. Yeah, we'll bring you the best. This is from AC in Koforidua. Does IPMC have courses that are geared towards e-governance, and how long has it been running? Antoinette from Takrady, all the way from Takrady. Antoinette, your answer will be coming shortly to you. And the e-governance meeting application is very useful. Congrats, IPMC, Linda Takrady. So we're having a lot more text messages coming up, but we'll take the answer to the first question. Does IPMC have courses that are geared towards e-governance, and how long has it been running? Antoinette from Takrady would like to know this.
This is a very nice question the gentleman has asked. And in fact, we are right now setting up the school. We are setting up various schools for learning the e-governance applications. We are currently implementing the first phase of e-health, which is happening at Kolebu and Va and Zibila hospitals. So we are setting up one dedicated school within Kolebu, which will be operating in the first phase for the next 1 year. And in this school, of course, it is initially only meant for the employees of Kolebu. They will be coming every now and then and learning about the e-health application, which is currently being deployed in the hospital. So this is a full-time school which will be available, but initially only for the employees of the hospitals. A similar school is being set up in NITA for teaching various office automation technologies, the correspondence management, the e-meeting, the portal and content management application which we are implementing in the government. A special school is being set up under the auspices of NITA. Again, initially this is meant only to cover the skills gap among the government employees, and they will be dedicatedly learning regarding the applications which have been deployed. But it is from these initial schools which are being set up that the other schools which will be open to the public will come into place, and we should give or take another 6 months to 1 year and we will definitely see schools on the e-governance coming from IPMC.
So give us up to about a year and we'll get all the best coming to you from IPMC. The discussion still continues. Mr. Amar, how can we promote teamwork within organizations using IT, and then to get to the end users using IT? How can we promote teamwork using IT?
Adam, this is a very nice question which you have brought over. Everything in any organization happens with teamwork, and it is the good teamwork which makes you win.
Yeah. There
is no other time than this particular time when we are having the wonderful football games, and we saw how Ghana as a team, we played together to where we were expecting that we should not have the defeat from Germany 4-0, 5-0. We were begging the defeat should be maybe 3-0 or 2-0 or 1-0, and we saw that we were about to win that game because of the good teamwork. So similarly, a good teamwork is important in any organization, whether it is privately run or it is a government institution. We are currently deploying an application which we call as portal and content management. For a layman to understand what is a portal and content management, we can go back to the very traditional notice boards which we used to have in all organizations. So you have this notice board and you want to make an announcement, you come and put it on that. You want to have a meeting, you come and put it on that. You want to celebrate somebody's birthday or whatever, you come and put it on that. You have some new policies to announce, you come and put it on the notice board. So with technology, this notice board is being now being put up electronically, and it is more than the notice board, the manual notice board, when we put it electronically. Because now the information which is written on that notice board, and it is called portal, that's the technical term of the notice board, and it is portal or e-portal, and it manages the content, so it is used for content management. As you know, that everything in today's organization is content, it is information, and we need to manage that information. We need to share that information with all the members of an organization. So if somebody has a very good document to share, how does he share it? He should go and put it on the portal and make it available to everyone. That this morning I have written this very nice document, why don't you go and have a look at that? The wonderful thing about putting this document on the portal is that you can do co-authoring. Now multiple people can open the document at the same time and add their viewpoints, and they can be working at the same instance. And when they save the document, the final document will be a wonderful document which has come as a result of teamwork of many people. Earlier we used to write a document, send it to the second person, and he edits it, then he sends it to the third person, he edits it, and there was a long chain. It will take a long time. But with this portal and content management solution which we are deploying in the 26 ministries and 102 agencies, people can work from 2 people to 200 people. They can work on the same document at the same time. This is the power of the collaboration which comes on the portal and content management application which we are currently deploying.
Moving forward from there, what is the level of implementation or involvement, if I should put it, of the end users like myself and the ordinary Ghanaian out there? What has been their level of involvement with the e-services, the e-meetings? And
when I will say the end users on the government organization level, I will see that the response has not been so positive. IPMC is setting up training rooms, we are putting up all the equipment, and our lecturers are waiting for the employees to turn up for their training classes. But our capacity would be 50 people in the class, 40 people, and in the end we will see only 5 people have come. So this is the challenge we are having, is the lack of motivation among the government employees to come and get trained on the new technologies. And sometimes we don't blame them, it is maybe the work pressure under which they are. They have important responsibilities to fulfill, and then maybe because they are already their mindset is rigid and trained on certain way of working, and today they are being asked to adopt to new style of working. It is really a bottleneck. So that receptiveness needs to be brought about, and for this the champion has to be the CEO or the head of that organization, who needs to go and motivate his team that all of us, we need to work as a good team. Just like we win the matches in the football, we have to be a winner in our daily work life also, and we will be able to do a good teamwork when we adopt to these new technologies being brought to us by companies like IPMC.
Great. I see our boss has a lot of interest when it comes to sports. What will be your prediction for Black Star team in their next match coming up?
I would say this season of the World Cup is full of surprises. What you expect, it doesn't happen. What you don't expect, it happens. So really nobody can predict. But one thing I know, that the Ghana team this time, who could defeat the superpower of World Cup, which is Germany. And we were about to defeat them, and then we ended up in a draw. So you can imagine the Ghana team today, we can reach to finals and we can bring the World Cup. Today's the team we have is one of the best teams we have ever come across. But we just need that coordination, that dedication, the motivation of the team, which we saw in the last match. If we can get the same motivation and we can score Portugal 6-0, then it's great.
Well, Portugal, watch out for us. We are coming live onto you. Anyway, the discussion is still on way. We're going to come to the benefits one should derive from e-governance. But before then, I would like to go to the challenges, which happens a lot more. I'd like to look at some of the challenges as ordinary people with regards to IPMC and their involvement with the government. Since you're a private sector, what are some of the major challenges you face when it comes to implementation of the process?
The biggest challenge in most developing countries, and it's not that Ghana is a typical case, but it happens in most developing countries, is the infrastructure. And this infrastructure is the connectivity infrastructure, the availability of the bandwidth. Today the flow of data and information is more than ever. We have computers with large hard drives and we can store data and we can have access to data. But our problem is transferring and accessing the data from one location to the other, from remote locations. That bandwidth availability is not over there, and in the developed world they don't have this challenge. If they want to access the data from one point to the other, they have huge and big bandwidths available. The speeds of the internet are very fast, and here we are all suffering because of the slower speeds, and the internet is expensive, the bandwidth is expensive. Yesterday our mail services at IPMC and many other organizations, we were down for about 5-6 hours. We didn't have any connection to the rest of the world, because I hear that one of the fiber optics under the sea, they had a break. and then later on our service provider had to switch us on another fiber optic cable. So it is good that today in Ghana we have almost 3 or 4 fiber optic cables coming, but there is still bottleneck within the country.
Yes.
And the good news is, however, that government through Ministry of Communications and NITA, they are laying out a lot of fiber optic, and I'm sure on one of the previous shows they must have detailed about the huge lot of fiber optic which is being laid down in the country. So we are currently into the transition phase, and as soon as all these fiber optic cable they become operational, this connectivity bottleneck which we all are facing, the speeds are low and we can't transfer heavy data from one point to the other, it will get sorted out. So we just have to wait for the right time, and I'm sure that in the next 1 year we should be getting over there.
Still on challenges, talking about the private sector, you shouldn't have challenges with regards to funding. Is that the case?
Funding is a very typical issue, and the question of funding, especially in again I will say the developing world, is always a challenge. So the government has always to look at what are the interest rates and how the funding is made available to the businesses. It is not a topic, it is a topic related more to micro and macroeconomics, but not more to, I will say, our IT topic which we are discussing today, or the e-governance. So I think we will hold this discussion to another point some other place.
Sure. Anyway, well, Virgin, from there we'll just move straight to some of the benefits end users, citizens, the ordinary market woman, the fisherman, the taxi driver, or that man up there in the north can derive from e-governance policies, processes, projects, workshops and all that. What are some of the benefits one is to derive from them?
The biggest benefit every citizen is going to achieve from e-governance is that the services they require from the government will be accessible to them at the place of their convenience. If they want, that service should be made available to them in their house or in their village, they can get the service at that point, and the service will be made available at the time they require. And the example of this I will give you is you must log on to this new portal which was built and launched a few months back. It's eservices.gov.gh, and you will see some of the government services which have been put online over there. The portal itself is fully operational, but it is linked to another portal which will be made live soon, and which is the e-payment portal. So right now you can't really use the e-services portal unless the e-payment, because any service you want from the government, there needs to be some fees paid along with it.
Yes.
So there is a parallel portal which is being put into place, which is the e-payment, and as soon as that one is up, you will be fully able to utilize the e-services portal. Some of the examples I will tell you which is going to benefit the citizens. Take the example of the birth or death registration.
Yes.
You will see it is a major challenge of most developing countries that as soon as the birth of the child takes place, it is a big challenge to get him registered and get a birth certificate for that child, because the nearest point the birth has taken place not in a proper government hospital, it was at a clinic or it was at home, which is away from where such a registry can take place. But when the e-services is accessible, you can go online and you can register the birth of your child over there. Today, if you will go on to e-services, you can see that you can apply for your lost birth certificate. For example, how many of us, if we have the birth certificate, we are able to keep it safe throughout our life? The day we need it, we start looking for it in our cupboards and we can't find it anywhere. and we need to go for a new birth certificate. And imagine you are living in Tamale or Bolga and you have to travel hours and hours coming to the birth and death registry in Accra and then stand in a long queue after so many days you have reached, and then apply for the birth certificate, and when will you get it and when will you go back home. But if you can apply for this birth certificate which was already issued to you, now you want a copy of it, from an internet cafe in Bolga, and you can apply it over there, and the birth certificate is sent to you by post in the coming few days. This is the beauty about e-governance and the e-services, that the citizens can receive the services at their doorsteps in a very reasonable time.
Talking about a very reasonable time, we're still going back to the challenges. You know, we have issues with even electricity. Talking about our current electrical issues we're facing as a country, and the fiber, as you said, we faced some challenge yesterday, and we don't know, looking into the future, what's the way forward for that ordinary person in that village under the tree way back in Kumasi or in the north. How is this service going to be really accessible to those people?
Well, what I will say that it is still a better situation, much better situation than we were in the past. Of course, electricity is a continuous challenge, and most governments today worldwide are struggling to meet the demand, and it's not unique to our country, Ghana. But it's good to see that the government has put those measures into place, that in the coming few months and in the coming few years we all will be having the electricity as required. But there are alternative technologies which are coming into place, such as the solar technologies, and I hear that some solar plants have also been commissioned in various places in Ghana. And we are really looking at that time that this solar technology will become so affordable that it will be easily accessible to the villages and the remote areas, and they will not have this electricity problem. Of course, the fiber optic cable cutting and all, these are temporary problems. These problems are may happen once in a year or so, but they get fixed in few hours, so it is not such of a really big deal. But overall, the situation of where IT has brought us today, we are in a much better situation what it was yesterday.
Well, viewers, you are still live here on Channel D, and it's coming to you from our studios, First Digital TV. We are in collaboration with NITA and Media Response. If you just tune in, you are watching e-governance platform. We are going for a quick break, and when we are back, there's a lot more. Stay tuned.
Is the newest television station in town with a swag on. They get sports, entertainment, news, anything you want get, even religious channel. In Kuala Academy, Charlie. I be this thing, they on that channel and get the same program. They get T2. What is T2? T2 is the newest technology in town with good pictures, quality images, good sound. If you want get program to work like 1 year, 2 years, you go feel rotate time. You go come clear for your screen talk. Charlie, dog. T2 no take Ghana. You know, I read about T2. T2 Charlie young key US. Charlie, don't what they do. You T2 say no take Ghana. What they tell you about? Don't confuse me for you. So they are the phone now, personal. What to pack what one year so they get them the free.
If you want to enjoy new and exciting First Digital channels, please call our customer service on 0243 002222 or call into your nearest First National branch. First Digital TV, for the Ghanaian in you.
Relationships have got two sides, the silver and the golden side. The silver for the grey spots in the relationship, and the gold for the golden spots in the relationship. Every step is very important. The least mistake could be a disaster. A well-calculated opportunity could bring joy. Kasemu. Legal matters.
Joe. Steven. Harry, over here. I'll take him right there. Alright, take you. You, over here.
Welcome back to e-governance platform. Still with me is Mr. Amar from IPMC. He's actually the CEO of IPMC and is giving us exclusive details of what we should expect as Ghanaians when it comes to e-governance process. This program is live here on Channel D, coming to you from First Digital Studios, and the discussion still continues. Mr. Amar, I am an ordinary Ghanaian and I write letters to MDAs or government institutions. It takes a long period for the letters to be addressed or responses to come to them. This is a major challenge. So how can e-governance affect this process positively?
Adam, you will agree that for large organizations where there are a number of employees, a number of teams, it's not an easy job. If you write a letter even to a private organization such as IPMC today, we are spread over 20 locations, we have over 600 employees. and you want to address the letter to someone in IPMC, how will it get to him? Today most of the letters end up on the CEO's table, and every day I have a big stack of letters, so I'm acting like as the postman or the post office or my company. Every day I come and open the letters and see who is it meant for and send the letter to that department. But that is not the job CEO should be doing. A similar challenge is also faced by government institutions. When you send a letter to them, then who should get the letter and when should he get it, and by when should he send the response? It is a big challenge. We came up with this very innovative idea and we named it as correspondence management. And looking at all these problems in the correspondence, which I was seeing personally myself, if I will write letter to any agency and I will never get a response to it, and even if people are writing to my organization, the letter doesn't get to the right place. Looking at that, this idea came to me that why not develop a system for correspondence management. So under this, all the letters which will come to an MDA, it will be received at this receiving point, scanned in the computer, and the letter will be sent electronically to the person who is concerned about it. Even if you send a fax or you send an email to that organization, so any sort of communication which comes to that organization will be received at a central place and dispatched to the right department, to the right person, with a time stamp that you must respond to this letter within this particular period of time. And unless and until those letters are responded or the issue is not closed, it will, a pending list will be keep on showing, and the boss or the CEO of that organization can always check on that, why all these letters have not been responded. So this correspondent management, which is currently being deployed across the 102 agencies, we are hoping that in the next 3 to 4 months it should become fully operational, and these things of letters writing to them and no action being taken should become an issue of the past.
Okay. Deriving from that, I'm interested mainly in the e-health, talking about a lot of birth mortality rates increasing. How well is e-governance systems going to affect this positively to make sure that we reduce maternal mortality a lot more in our country?
The maternal mortality and child mortality, there are a lot of factors contributing to that. E-governance or e-health may not address all of them, but it may address a large number of those problems. Very initially, when the e-health is fully implemented among all the hospitals, right now it's happening only among the 3 hospitals. Once it's implemented throughout the country in all the government hospitals, the inventory management or the drug management becomes automated. So many a times the mortality issues happen because of non-availability of drugs in that certain health center or the clinic, because the drugs were just not available. They couldn't be there at the right time when it was required. But when the systems are automated, they send advance alerts to the authorities that these critical drugs are out of stock, they should be dispatched in the right time. But in the very future, the mortality issue, maternal and child mortality issues, can also be addressed by ensuring that from the first day of the pregnancy of the mother, as soon as she reports to the clinic, she is being put on this automated system, wherein she starts receiving the text messages at home that your first vaccination is due, your second vaccination is due, you must look after your diet, you must eat, follow these procedures to ensure good health of the baby, and as soon as an emergency occurs, using the mobile phone, the expectant mother can send the right message, or she can be directed to the nearest hospital in case of emergencies wherever the drugs are available. So it is definitely going to improve the management of many of the diseases and many of the mortality issues which are happening today.
Well, at this point, we'd like to take some text messages from our cherished viewers out there, and then we'll draw the curtains on today's show. The first one says, how can a user monitor feedback using the e-government meeting application? And that's from Grace in La Paz. Grace, thanks for that question. Very important. What is IPMC doing in helping to close the gap between computer literates and computer illiterates? That's from Ya in DC. I am a blind person, but I'm interested in ICT. Please ask the IPMC boss if they have any software applications for the disabled. That's Nyamiche from Elmina. Nyamiche, we are grateful for this question. And the last one says, I'm a church leader and I want to know if there are any applications or softwares that my church members can use to take part in the e-government process. Yes, I can assure you there are lots, and you are going to hear them now. So I'll take the first one. It says, how can a user monitor feedback using the e-government application? That's the meeting application.
I mentioned earlier that all the data for the meetings is available on the systems and is accessible by all the members who are attending the meeting. It is a historic data. Whatever feedback anybody receives is uploaded on the portal, and it is easily accessible by the members who access it. So you are given a username and a password for the portal of that meeting room, which was created electronically online someplace, and you can always go inside your meeting room in that particular time and see what happened in that meeting room at that instant 1 year before or 2 years before, and what were the points which were discussed and what were the decisions which were taken. If there were any feedbacks later on, those feedbacks get linked to the meeting by the administrator who is managing that meeting room.
So there's actually a possibility of you getting your answers to that. The next one says, what is IPMC doing in helping to close the gap between computer literates and then the computer illiterates? This is from Ya in Dansoman, DC.
Yeah, I would say the main, of course, the core business of IPMC is the supply of reliable IT products, and which we have been doing from the past 23 years. We have ensured that the IT products are easily made available and accessible to the general public, and as you see that earlier there were hardly any IT equipment to be found in stock, especially 25 years back when I came to Ghana. If I have to buy a computer, you have to place an order and it will come in 3 or 4 months. It was not easily accessible. But today, where we have reached, and I will say much because of one company which was very persistent that we must keep IT goods, latest technology equipment always in stock in this country. And as a result, all those businesses which grew out of IPMC, those businesses which we enabled, most companies today are have got into the trend of keeping the latest IT equipment in stock. So one is having access to this IT equipment, which will cover the skills gap. Because if you don't have access to the IT equipment, where are you going to practice your IT skills? The second is the affordability, the price. So the competition which has got created through the various IT companies which came as a result. If you will see, when IPMC started 23 years back, there were hardly any IT companies around. Today there are more than uncountable numbers, 600, 700, and you name it, IT companies in Ghana, and most of them they have got enabled through the education, the literacy which IPMC brought over the years. It is our ex-employees or our ex-students or other business people who got motivated, who got inspired by the good IT business which we have been doing over the years, that so many IT businesses have mushroomed in the country all over, and this is resulting in very good competition, and this competition is bringing the prices down for the IT products to make it more affordable, and this is where again you can fill up the skills gap. But the biggest contribution which companies such as IPMC is making is into the IT training, the actual IT literacy programs. Whether you want professional IT training or academic IT degree courses, you have so many of them available from so many institutions in Ghana today, which earlier was not the norm. But today any college, any university, any school which must impart education to its students, they have to teach IT by all means. And this has come as a result of IPMC's contribution over the years, who brought so much awareness about IT in Ghana. And not only in Ghana but in the neighboring countries. I get surprised to see the other time when I was visiting Liberia, and any organization, whether government or private, I went in and they said, oh, we have an IPMC IT graduate working in our company.
Wow.
And that gentleman used to come running to see me, oh, Mr. Ramar, you're the IPMC boss and you are coming to visit Liberia and our company, and we are really so thankful for you. So not only in Liberia, in Sierra Leone, in Ivory Coast, in Nigeria, Gambia, all these neighboring countries, the students, the citizens, the people from those countries have come to Ghana to study IT education at IPMC. And why not most of the Ghanaians would come. So today majority and about 20,000 students getting trained from the various training locations of IPMC, and yes, majority of them are Ghanaians. So definitely that skills gap between the people who know IT and those who don't know is being filled up at a very faster rate.
Any parting words to your cherished viewers, if you have some shout outs to the family you would like to share? If there are any shout outs you'd like to maybe share with your fans out there, if there are any good luck messages you have for them.
Okay, the best message I would like to give to everyone is that today we are living in a knowledge-based economy. Everything is knowledge-based, and we need to become a knowledge worker. And the biggest asset for any organization is a knowledge worker. The assets of today's organizations are not buildings, are not vehicles, and not any other asset, but the main asset, every organization has a knowledge worker. So we as individuals must pursue and hunt for more and more knowledge on daily basis, whether it is through books, whether it is through internet, whether it is through going to school or university, but we must become that outstanding knowledge worker. Every organization, every company is looking out there to employ you in the market.
Well, viewers, this brings us to another edition, another end of one edition of e-governance platform. My name is Adam Tetevia, and I brought this program to you live here in our studios, Channel D, First Digital TV. We'll be meeting again same time next week, but you can watch a recap on Sunday. This program is proudly brought to you by First Digital TV, NITA, and Media Response. Just sit back. I'll say bye-bye here. See you next week.